When you get locked in on your priorities, this is what I want you to understand, that when you lock in on the main focus of who your future self is and what needs to get done, you can just completely remove all the things that don't amount to where you need to be. Because again, just like I'm sharing these ideas, you'll be tempted to probably use one of these, but ask yourself all the time. You need to ask, is it in alignment with where I want to be? My contextual purpose by the end of the year. Welcome to another episode of the Same Marco Pod, episode 22 in the books. Time flies, all right? I dropped my last episode about 10 days ago. And again, I want to get back to the weekly consistency. That's exactly what I want, where we can get the episode rolling on a frequent basis for y'all. Because I know some of you look forward to these episodes coming out, and hopefully you continue to find a lot of value. Listen, I'm not about to talk about Graham Stephan today, so let's get straight into today's episode. For those of you that did not read the title, we're talking about how you can do less and still find a way to achieve much more. Right now, there is an obvious undertone. We'll talk about that a little bit later, right? But I wanted to start this episode by talking about this, okay? If we are all going to be honest, if we look at early 2020 when the pandemic actually hit, that's when, if you were spending a lot of time online in the virtual space, especially in the personal development space, you notice there was a surge of personal development content everywhere, right? There was all these productivity channels and YouTube channels, and it was Instagram, TikTok, it was everywhere, right? And if you watch content like what I create and other content just like this, then most likely you're a person that care about your own evolution. You want to grow, you want to get better, you want to find new skill sets, you want to elevate to new levels. And the truth is, you most likely are susceptible to these concepts and these ideas and these systems. You want to implement all of these, right? Like, I know this. Like, I know this for a fact because I did the same exact thing. And then you have nothing to show for it, right? You like, I've tried everything. I've tried it. Morning, wake up at 4 and 5, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Like, what I came to realize is this: I was spending so much time on the unimportant things, right? A few months ago, when I found out the idea of being able to connect with my future self, when I really got focused on what I truly want, which ultimately I want to be able to be in front of this camera and then do the videos all the time, create workshops, programs, and products out there that will help you guys become better versions of yourself, create compelling visions for your future. Like, that's what I truly want to do. And what was happening was I was spending so much of my time on so many of these habits and productivity hacks and all these strategies and systems, but it wasn't taking me where I wanted to be. And then when I found the idea of connecting to my future self, and I really aligned and felt what it's like to be the person that I just talked about that I want to be, all of a sudden I found myself doing so much less. I just started doing less, right? My days are a lot more structured. And so the question that I want to throw out there for you is, there is nothing wrong necessarily with any of these habits. Waking up at 4 a.m., I'm pretty positive it works. But if you get home at 11 p.m. at night and you're waking up at 4, I think that's probably not smart, right? You want to ask yourself, are these habits and these systems, including the ones that I talk about, are they in alignment with your own contextual purpose? And when I figured these out, man, I really started to do a lot less. I feel so much command and control of the direction I want to go, right? And when I encounter failures along the way, I'm not as upset anymore, right? Because I can tell it's giving me feedback that really will allow me to get where I'm trying to go, which is my future self. And so today I want to spend some time talking to you about how you can really do a lot less. But before we dive into any of those, as usual, man, I'm obsessed with quotations. Like, I love quotes because some quotes are so powerful that they can become a principle in your life, right? It can become something that you use as a mantra, you follow. Maybe you come across a quote from Joe Rogan, or you come across a quote from John Maxwell, or you come across a quote from Miyamoto Musashi. Like, I don't know where you get your quotes from, but there are some quotes that you hear, you're like, wow, this Now that hit a little bit different, right? Like you have a different connection to it. It resonates with you a little bit different. You're like, man, I would love to live by these principles, right? And today's quote is one of those that I believe if you can live by, it will be powerful. And it also encapsulates everything that we are going to talk about today. All right. So hear me out. I promise you, you're going to love it. It's going to be useful. It will make a difference. It says, you accomplish your deep desires when you focus on the important things. I'm going to say it one more time because some of you are in the back of the classroom. You didn't catch it. I hope you're paying attention. All right. You accomplish your deep desires when you focus on the important things. I think in order for you to do less, the first thing that you need to do, make this a priority, is you need to take a pen and paper or use a laptop, a computer, iPad, I don't care, your phone. Grab something that you can write things down. And then you need to identify 6 months incremental for the next 6 months till December, or maybe the next 12 months, right? Identify those areas of your life that if you changed will have the most profound impact. And let's all be honest, most of us that will be watching these type of content will be money related, right? It will be finances, right? And a lot of us, I've said this before, most of us just need to have a little bit of money saved on the side. So when emergency comes up, which is inevitable, we'll be ready to handle some of these things. So once you've taken the time and identified all the important things you need to work on, and it could be a list of 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, it doesn't matter, but it has to be the top priorities that will make the most changes in your life. Once you know that, now we have a great idea of exactly some of the important things that we need to channel our energy towards, right? The first thing you need to do in order to really do less and get the things you want is to make sure you extract about 2 or 3 of the top priorities. The one that you know is this is it. The 1 or 2 things, not even 3, but if you need 3, that's okay. But 1, 2, or 3 things that will make the difference that you can look back at the end of the year and say, okay, I'm proud I achieved this, right? I can use this as inspiration for me to go after bigger goals in my life and transform different areas, or should I say facets of my life. Once you are able to identify and pick these 2 or 3 things, the next thing you need to do, to me, is probably one of the most important things. And again, I will continue to talk about this because it's that valuable. And that is in order to eradicate friction. So you actually can do the things that you just decided that are the 2 or 3 most important things to you. You must schedule your life around that, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to lose 15 pounds. If I look at your schedule, right, you should have something that relates to how many days you are training. What type of training you doing? Maybe cardio, maybe it's lifting some weights. But ultimately what I realize is calendars and schedules really gives you that opportunity to schedule around your future self, man. And that will save you a lot of time, right? A lot of decision making. Like some of you, there are some days that come up, but you don't know what you are going to do. So when the time arrives and you seem bored and you have nothing to do and you're tired of scrolling on social media, then you figured out what you need to do next. When you have identified the 1 or 2 or 3 things you need to actually focus on, and then you find a way to eradicate any friction by scheduling ahead of time the task that will amount to that place, man, that's most of the work for majority of us, right? We really are not clear on what we want, and identifying what you need to do will completely, like I said earlier, eradicate those lesser goals that get your attention, right? The things that make you spend 3 hours doing laundry, and then by the time you're done with laundry, what happens is laundry is not really going to help you get to your future true desires. But what's going to happen is you are tired, you are drained, and the next thing you want to do is maybe do groceries, cook, and go to sleep. The problem is that could be the only day you are off out of the week, right? A lot of you, let's all be honest, most of us that watch these type of content are doing 9 to 5 type of jobs. And so you probably have 1 or 2 days off. And if you don't have things planned and you spend so much of your time on those days that you are off on lesser goals, then every year you're going to look back and say, I'm not even moving forward towards the things that I want. Like, it's going to be a lot of stress. And the reason why I know this so well Is because that was me. Every year. Why am I not moving forward? Identifying what needs to be done, scheduling around that removes any sort of friction that will let you find yourself even watching videos and podcasts and listening to podcasts like this. A lot of you literally came across this video, and myself included, I've been a victim before because we were distracted and we had nothing to do within that time period. And if you value your time, and if you value your future, right, and you care about the debt that you will have to pay for your future if you don't invest in yourself, especially in the right way towards the things that you deeply want to have, then the honest truth is this, man. It's going to be very, very hard. So please schedule yourself around that future self, eradicating any form of friction so you can take the actions that need to be taken. And so at the end of the year, 6 months from now, a year from now, you can definitively say, I am proud of what I did and I got somewhere. All right. This is important. I promise you this is one of those ideas I couldn't help myself. I had to do an episode on it, and I have to share with you all because it's changed everything for me, right? Getting focused on your true desires. I mean, you really stop trying to do everybody's thing. If I know what to do, I'm really not wasting a lot of time. Like, I even stopped watching a lot of people's content simply because I keep thinking, okay, I could be doing this. All right. There are some things I need to share with people that I know could be valuable. Because now I'm focused. I'm so connected to who that person is, which is going to be connected to what we're about to talk about next. So once you've defined those top two priorities and then you've scheduled around that, the next thing is my favorite of all time. This is the trick that has changed my outlook completely. It's by Neville Goddard. He says you need to imagine. And so now we know who we want to be. Let's say the example is losing 15 pounds of weight. You want to imagine, what would that person look like? If you're a female, like, is that person toned? Small arms? Nice belly? All right. If you're a guy, are you shredded? Do you have muscles? What does it look like? What type of foods are you eating? If you can vividly paint those images, those assumptions in your head. Now, they might seem crazy to your senses right now, but the moment you start to connect with your future self, right? When I started to see myself as a person that's really in shape, that goes to the gym and know exactly what he was doing, right? That I wasn't naive and I knew what exercises that needed to be done to help me build muscle, and I was so locked. Like, when I started to see myself as that individual, the next thing I knew, 2 years later, I was that person. So the more you can paint these images in your head, who's going to be at that place when you achieve these goals? What house are you going to live in, right? Is he a content creator? What is he doing? What is he offering? What difference are you making in the world's drama? Like, these are things that I realized when you dial in. I'm telling you, when you use your imagination, when you visualize and you meditate on it for about 21 days, and the longer you go, the better it is. I know who I want to be. I've scheduled around that individual. Now I'm feeling, acting, and thinking like the person I want to be. And then by default, I already am that person. All right. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm acting and thinking, but I'm also feeling what it will be like to be what I desire, I already am. It's just a matter of time. I am great. I was born to do great things. I was born to be able to share my ideas and my insights on topics that I find interesting, that has helped my life. I was born to do this. I am. The moment you begin to feel that, right? You're not vague and thinking, oh, man, I'm gonna lose weight and I'm gonna build muscle. No, feel that person. What does it look like? What would you like to have if you actually become that person? If you had a true conviction? I am telling you that what happens is those crazy assumptions eventually become objective reality. It become fact. It sounds so metaphysical and esoteric, but I don't think it's esoteric, because every time I've tried this, it's like, it's probably the best way for me to get the outcomes that I want, right? Because this is the issue. A lot of us, I've come to realize the reason we don't pursue the things we want to pursue is because we don't believe we can. So Joe Dispenza talks about this. If you can connect to that person, if you can feel what it's like to have that desire, you already are. Connect with that person. If you want to be a journalist, you want to be a sports analyst, you want to be a content creator, you want to be a podcast host, whatever it is that you want to be, if you want to be a professor, if you can feel what it's like to be that person, like you really use your imagination, which is more powerful than knowledge. I didn't say this. Einstein said it. Is it Einstein or Newton? Einstein. So, imagination is your superpower. It's your gateway out of your struggles, your problems. You got to use your mind, right? You might think things are going great and I got everything all figured out, but I don't. But I'm using my imagination to get me out of the situation that I'm in right now. Your imagination is your gateway to be connected to your future self. I'm going to tell you right now, all right? I know we kind of went through this episode a lot faster than usual, but the truth is this. What's more important is understanding what I'm talking about here. What I really want you to get from this, that when you really dial in and focus on your deep desires, your true priorities, the things that means a lot to you, when you connect to them, the one that like for real, if I'm committed for the next 6 months for real by the end of December, if I'm really locked in, I invest so much of my time instead of focusing on all the things that really don't make the biggest difference. Let me focus on what I think will make the most difference. If you really dial in on that, there's no way you get to December and you are the same person. I know because I tried this with the gym. And 6 months later, I was a different person. My mind was different. I look at life very different. Same thing with content. When I started doing Instagram and I started to lock in and I was focused for the first year with one of my buddies, like I became so good on the platform. I understood it. And I don't have the most followers, but I figured it out. Same thing with TikTok. When you get locked in on your priorities, this is what I want you to understand, that when you lock in on the main focus of who your future self is and what needs to get done, you can just completely remove all the things that don't amount to where you need to be. Because again, just like I'm sharing these ideas, you'll be tempted to probably use one of these, but ask yourself all the time. You need to ask, is it in alignment with where I want to be? My contextual purpose by the end of the year. Identify those. Write them down. Do not be the type of person that think, oh, of course I'm going to remember. Like, don't do that. With people that are serious about what they want, they write it down. And if you watch Sam Marco Pod, my hope is that you write it down. Identify those top 2 priorities. Schedule, right? Don't hope you would do it, because I can tell you the truth. Every debate I ever had with myself, I've never won. I don't know about you all, but let me know in the comment. Have you ever had a debate with yourself right before you went to the gym? Like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'll go later. Yeah, you end up not going, right? Don't do it. Schedule yourself so you eradicate all debates in your mind, all sort of friction, anything that will come in your way so you don't do what needs to be done. You already have pre-programmed, planned things, actions, tasks, all kinds of things that will get you on the path to where you are going. And then you find a way to use your imagination, meditate. Meditation is not just to be still and calm. You can meditate on your life, the things you want to achieve, see your future self, your wife, your husband, right? I'm not sure exactly what you are trying to achieve, but whatever it is that you are trying to achieve, being a content creator, being a better communicator, losing weight, building muscle, getting in better shape, I don't know. You might want to just simply be better at writing. But if you can do these things, I can promise you this. You're going to come out at the end of the year proud of yourself. You will get more done because, again, you've removed, John Maxwell talks about this, and it's very important. Actually, I came across this quote in the book, Be Your Future Self Now. Benjamin Hardy. I've just been giving you free promo. But y'all go check out the book. It's an incredible book. And John Maxwell talks about how the unimportance of almost everything in our lives. And a lot of us don't think about it, right? Like, really, let's all be honest, right? Forget about content, you watching this video right now, or just listening to this episode. Let's all be honest. The things that really matters in our life, most of the time, it has nothing to do with any of these things that we come across online. Right? The things that I need to focus on from now to the end of the year, like 90% of the content that I watch, it has nothing to do with that. So dial in on what is it that you know you need to change right now to the end of the year. And then when you accomplish that, then you push it for 12 months. When you focus on the important things, you accomplish your true desires. Remember, I said that in the beginning. That's the quote. Now, before you get out of here, as always, this is Sam Michael Pod. I'm not just going to let you leave. No. These are a few things that I would love if you really take the time to do this for me, right? I really appreciate it. I just don't want you guys to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes. This is important. I said this a few episodes ago. Do not listen to content for 20, 30, 40 minutes and not take notes. Don't write down stuff. This is how most of you are learning. You are programming yourself with a lot of these ideas. You want to know, what are really these type of ideas? Do they have true value to you? If you're going to spend an hour listening to me, I think that's something you might want to consider. So the first thing I would like you to do for me, which I've been talking about the last few days now, is listen to this episode 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6 times if you truly care about doing less and still accomplishing your deep desires. Listen to it a few times. With repetition, it goes through your mind, and eventually it feels like you can almost recite the thing back to me, right? And you start to feel it. You find yourself acting in alignment with that. So listening a few times is valuable. Listen, I barely get views on these videos. I don't care if you do. I know there's some of you out there that really care about it. And I want you to do that because it really transformed how I look at learning. Repetition is your gateway to truly understanding anything and learning. And honestly, if you listen to this episode, there's a lot of things that might resonate with you, but there's a lot that you will not catch. And you go on this thought trip, right? You might hear something that truly resonate with you. You're like, oh, that's so dope. And then you don't even listen to anything else I'm saying. Like, you can hear me. Maybe you listen to me in your car, but you're not really. So listen to this a few more times. There are a lot more things you will begin to catch that you probably weren't paying attention to earlier. So valuable. The next one is, let me know in the comment below, what are your top 1, 2, or 3 priorities for the rest of the year? You must have it. And if you don't have it, this is an opportunity to go write some stuff down, right? It truly matters. I said earlier about, I don't want to be Graham Stephan. Did I just catch myself using it's funny because I've been working on this for a long time. I do not like using during my conversations. This is something I've been so attentive to. I want to make sure I can eradicate that completely from my language. I've done a great job for years now. And I think it's for the first time I found myself using it right now. It's interesting. I don't know. I know it doesn't really matter, but go ahead, like, share, and subscribe, right? I've said this many times. I want to get to 1 billion subscribers. And some of you think I'm joking. I'm going to keep saying this every episode until we get to 1 billion subscribers. The only difference is I don't want to die like Mr. Beast. I don't want to get buried. I don't want to fly in helicopters. I don't want to go on these crazy ships. No. Listen, I might be African, but there's some things Africans we simply don't do, okay? Like, we barely get on roller coasters. I don't want to die. Like, you're like, saying what? No, I don't want to get on roller coasters. I've been on it one time. I loved it. That's about it. I don't want to take chances. I see people flip off. Thank you. All right, so I don't want to die, but I also know I cannot do this without you all. Listen, like, subscribe. When you like content like this, or you share it, or you subscribe, it just tell the YouTube algorithm, let's send it to more people that are like you. There are a lot of like-minded people like you, right? Just like me, and you love my content. There are people that like us. We want to get to 1 billion. I can't do it by myself. I know there's a 1 in front of the B. Well, let's all be honest. I can't do it. You can do it. Get people involved. I know you have a friend or two, all right? We all have those friends that could use doing less to achieve more. Because, as soon as they see the title, whoa, thank you, sign me up. I love doing less. Listen, don't get too excited about doing less. Get excited about focusing on your priorities. That will allow you to do less. That's the key. That's the trick right there if you didn't get it. So like, share, and subscribe. We are on the way to 1 billion. Thank you so much for those 20, 30, 50 people that watched the last episode. I really appreciate it. I think we're on a roll right now. Sam, do not go back to your old ways. I truly want to be as consistent as possible with you all, man. I know some of you love these content. And ultimately, I'm creating this content because that's the type of content I wish I would have had when I started my own personal evolution. When I wanted to become a better version of myself and I wanted to learn more about all of these things, the type of books to read and things like that, and what ideas I could implement. So hopefully you guys continue to find a lot of value. Thank you to all of you that stick by me, rock with me from Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all over the place, on all podcast platforms. Wherever you listen to this, which, by the way, you should be listening to your podcast in the car, because then you can listen to it as many times as possible. I love listening to podcasts in the car. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget, what truly matters is you connect with your future self. And then you schedule around that future self. And then you act like that future self. It might seem crazy, but one day your craziness will turn into fact. I love you all. Stay blessed and get productive. It's funny. For those of you that stay to the end of the episode, I got a little quick gift for you all, right? Next week, I'm thinking about talking about how to crush comparisons in the era of social media. And I believe I might have mentioned the last episode. Let me know in the comment. I've been thinking about it. I believe that would be a great topic to talk about, because we could all use it. So thank you all. And I just called myself again saying twice. Very funny. I don't know if I'll leave this in the episode, but thank you all for stopping by. I love you. I cannot tell you all how much this means a lot to me. I'm just in my bedroom sharing my insights on things that I've learned from other people's stories, books, my own experience, wisdom on things that I find meaningful. And you guys also find some value in that, especially on TikTok, Instagram. Hopefully YouTube, we can grow the channel as well to the 1 billion. I don't want to die. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm not going to be my alter ego. I'm just going to be a Ghanaian boy, Sam Arco. All right. I love the gym. I love working out. I love growing. I love getting better. I want to evolve, and I want to give back to the world. I want to make an impact, and I want to be better. I hope you want to be the same as well. Stay blessed. Get things done. When you get things done, you get results. Your feelings, it matters. But when you get things done, you get results. Always remember that. Peace.